All right, hello everyone. Happy Saturday evening here. I thought I would get a very quick video out because I sent a tweet about the idea of Russia's military cathedral, which people have been talking about, I never saw the lampposts. It has these lampposts, which I really think are expressive of a new way of understanding space and the world that is being manifest through design culture, in contrast to the cathedral itself, which shows what's called a pseudomorphosis, a false shaping of older historical forms. What the heck is Getson talking about? Okay, I'll show you guys if I can find this thing. Oh, here it is. This isn't going to be the most elegant way of showing you, but you can Google this as well, or DuckDuckGo it. You can see that's not so bad. So you can see those things there. That's not shown with those lampposts. So that has the classic onion dome type thing, which is really kind of the Kievan Rus. They took what you can see that it's related to the pendentives to the Greek cross cathedral, something like you would see in Hagia Sophia in Constantinople, and then put their own extra spin on it with those gold kind of lapped over onion domes on top. Interestingly similar stuff you can see in southern Italy, not northern Italy, southern Italy, because of the Greek and the Byzantine influence in that part of the world where you have these narrow towers with that round dome like that. And you can see that in southern Italy and the river cities of Ukraine and Russia and Belarus, you can see a similar type of thing, because both of those places were kind of like frontier areas of the Byzantine cultural influence. Now, those lampposts, that is something else entirely, isn't it? That's something that also looks like, it kind of looks like it's from the future, but it also looks like a little bit of that. Frank Lloyd Wright's corner windows. Don't know what house that's from. Might be from the Roby House, but yes, it is. It's for the Roby House. See? You can see the little dynamite safe courtyard there, because the industrialist Mr. Roby was seriously back in the 1890s was afraid, or the early 1900s, either decade. He was seriously afraid of anarchists throwing sticks of dynamite at his kids, and so he wanted a good sturdy brick wall. Also, Rudolf Steiner's Goetheneum. I don't think I'm crazy to say that those lampposts, let's look at those lampposts again. I kind of like doing it this way rather than spending lots of time, which I would never end up doing, of editing. This way I can more easily make videos that hopefully people think are fun. Pardon my messing around with it. Immediately the dude in the comments, "This sucks so much, you just should never make any videos at all." Okay, see, and look at that. And they took it at a great time of day where you can see those lights just starting to show, because something that I think would be really fun and amazing is, what does this look like? Oh, look, I'm seeing the infrared flash. That's funny. Yeah, I see that on my iPhone. What does this look like at night? Because there's illumination. It looks like they have illumination in the lampposts as well as in the post itself. And this is something, it's important to think about opposites. That oftentimes when you have an enormous shift in culture, and I am speaking Spenglerianly about all this, that you have the idea of the Faustian West. Some of my other videos have this, but I'll try to really speed through this for those of you not familiar. So we're all familiar with the idea of rise and fall of culture and civilizations. Well, Oswald Spengler, had the idea that you could understand a logical structure to this, which could help people figure things out about what do we want to do with the way we relate to history. So you have a rising time of gathering energy called culture, and a peak, and then you have a dispersal of energy that he calls civilization. Culture into civilization. Okay, so typically the civilization, it could explode, it could collapse, or it could just fossilize and move on when the civilization kind of ossifies. When a civilization is ossifying, often enough in history, there's another culture that kind of comes up there and breaks through it. But before it totally breaks through, it kind of has to adjust as it's working its way up. And that's called a pseudomorphosis. It's a geological term that means false shaping. Because imagine a quartz crystal growing into the shape of a different type of crystal, of, I don't know, a beryl or something. Maybe beryl is quartz, but, salt. There are a bunch of salt crystals, and then the salt dissolves, and then some quartz starts to grow. The quartz grows into the shape of the salt crystal until it gets big enough and it grows out of it, right? Pseudomorphosis. So you see cultures do that. That the medieval culture was highly influenced by the Romans. You had the Romanesque. And then, a little bit after, you have the native culture of the medieval West, which was the Gothic. And just bumped my drawer. Drawer's shut now. There we go. So this is clearly showing a pseudomorphosis of lots of things, layers of pseudomorphosis, right? You get Byzantine layered with Magian, layered with this kind of modern West type Russian thing, and then there's this other thing. And the Frank Lloyd Wright stuff and those lampposts were separated by a little bit more than 100 years. And the Goetheanum was roughly the same time. The old Goetheanum burnt down. I think that might have been in the 20s, might have been slightly earlier. So those were close to each other, and they occupy the same form world to me. You can tell me if you think I'm crazy. Please comment below. I don't think I am crazy about this. I'm crazy in other ways, not about this. So I really think that, yeah, they're connected, but it's not the end of this. No. Why is this important? Is it showing a different understanding? Well, in the classical world that the medieval world was coming out of, the sacred space around those temples was the outside. Well, the sacred space was inside, but the public space of ceremony was on the steps and on the plaza. And you have those old pictures of what we thought it was like, where you have the big cauldron with the burning, the sacrifice, and the Romans and the pagans, and they have this big thing with the crowd outside that temple. And to a certain extent, that was also true even with something like the temple in Jerusalem. The inside part was only for the special priests. That was also a similar thing with the pagan temples. They had that similar spatial ordering. They were part of the same spatial, physiospatial thinking world of the Hellenistic world, even though the Jerusalem temple was obviously considerably older than a lot of the Roman stuff, the first one anyways. So not Herod's renovation. So then with the Gothic, and also with what you call the Magian, with the Eastern Greek Orthodox and things in the middle, and Christian stuff in the Middle East, then it was inside. The public was inside. It was an inversion. Oftentimes when you switch over from one world system to another world system, to another set of culture and civilization, when a new culture comes up and breaks old civilization, you often have these kinds of opposite switchings. I think so anyways. And yes, it's totally the whole idea of light streaming out. The cathedral windows had light streaming in. The Hagia Sophia had light streaming in a different way. The cathedral windows is like linear one direction, right, on the cross plan, the Western cross plan, the Basilica cross plan. Although I suppose it was in from the sides and also that way, and so you get this Cartesian axial space. With the Hagia Sophia, with the pendentives and the lifting up of the dome, you had the circular. It's a different feeling. It's like the heavens are around you, and you have this glowing horizon, right? And the whole idea, if you were in the Varangian Guard, a bunch of Russian Vikings were there in Constantinople, and it was famously written, if I forget where, they said, and we could not tell as the choir was singing whether we were in heaven or on earth, because it had this magical feeling of this dome above them, and with the light streaming in a circle and into a radial point. And with the Western stuff, it's still streamed in, but their sense of arranging space was different, is that everything is linear, XYZ axis, and it's coming in from the sides, it's coming in from behind you, and then in the front is eventually where the pipe organ went. Sometimes in the front, either in the front or the back, sometimes both. A very fancy German one. And now, this is different, isn't it? There are lampposts. And I would love to find out more about it. I don't know enough about this cathedral and the plaza. The plaza is, I think, where any sense of new form is happening. And you have to imagine that as it gets dark, the light starts to softly glow and come up, and you have all these intersecting, beautiful, really interesting shadows. It's fantastic design work. I really like it. I really want to congratulate. This is why I have a whole video which you can watch called Russia, Can You Step Up to the Plate? Well, regardless of their government, yes or no, but whoever they all worked with to design that beautiful, wonderful job. We gotta close the monument gap, as they would say in Dr. Strangelove. We need to. The West has a lot to say architecturally. I know that for sure. We got. Come on, West, let's step up and say it. But I'm not going to be upset that they did something wonderful and beautiful. It's great. Hopefully before I die, and we're going to be part of working with some fantastic people and having some answers, because we, and clearly this is somewhat of I would be very surprised if you could go to a Russian architect or a Russian designer to say, oh, that has absolutely nothing to do with Frank Lloyd Wright, harumph. Maybe some kind of political jerk would say that, but I think that they would, I would hope that the designers would be happy to say, yes, I see what you mean. I think that's very great because we also like Frank Lloyd Wright, and here we're doing our own. Cultural appropriation's a good thing sometimes. We're doing our own version, So, but what does this say about how we're thinking about space? I don't think this is crazy. This is why I wanted to get this out. I don't think it's crazy to call it, I was thinking working title for this new world system is to call it the monadic. Either the monadic or the resonant. I think the prime symbol is resonance, or reciprocal space. Also other videos about this. About prime symbol and reciprocal space. I think that instead of the XYZ axis, that's not going to go away any more than the idea of thinking about space of the dome of the heavens went away, or thinking about space in terms of a body of a column like the Greeks and Romans did. That never went away. It's just that the kind of driving cultural force is thinking in a new way that doesn't cancel out the old ways necessarily, but it adds something different. Relativity, special relativity for physics and classical dynamics, they're kind of in dialogue with each other, and this is how human stuff develops. I really think that, what do I mean by monadic? I only have a few minutes here. What do I mean by monadic? That's from Leibniz. It's not from Deleuze. It's from Leibniz. The idea that there are indivisible things. There are atoms of form. There are atoms of material, but atoms of form. Think of a cube. Slice a cube in half. It's no longer that cube. Shrink it or make it bigger. It's no longer that cube that it was before. So everything is itself. Everything is itself a unique thing, which is also made up of other unique things. Think about how fractals work. There's this infinite in and infinite out conception of it. And also, I think that Leibniz really anticipated where things are going with thinking about how entities interact in the world, and don't have the ability to do it in this video articulately. If people are curious, I can go on about it, about what this means for architecture, but I really do believe that those lampposts are showing a kind of organic, monadic expression of a sense of spatial relation and spatial thinking that is distinct. Now, have I been looking for things like this? Yes. So do I have a bias? Yes, I have a bias that I'm looking for new expressions of form to come up that I get excited about. However, I think that this is still something pretty new in the way that it's being done. What do you think? Like, comment, subscribe, flame the heck out of me, whatever, in the comments below. I'll try to do more of these regularly. I've been working on trying to find a regular rhythm. I think I'm closer. All right, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for listening.